Good evening, everybody. Good evening. It's 9 p.m. Are we here? Is everyone here? All right, so today we are not going to take much of our time. We are going to start immediately. I believe we have invited everyone, and please let me know if you can hear me. If you cannot hear me at any point, please kindly stop me at that point so that I can check my network and we don't miss out on very important points. Good evening, everyone. So it's so good to be here. Yeah, it's so good to be here. The last time we had a discussion like this was, I think that was on Saturday. Yeah, that was Saturday. So good to be back here again today. Yesterday was quite busy for me. So sorry that I couldn't meet up. Even today is also another busy day. But yes, we have to continue. We have to keep pushing till we get to where we are going. So we're going to start with yesterday's activity. What does your child think about God? So for every one of us that had this session with our children, and we have feedback, and we have feedbacks from our children, what do they really think about God? You know, the way a child they think, they don't think abstractly like we think. They think like they can see God, like God is very close to them, you know, even in everything about their life. If it was to be an adult that we have asked this question about God, you may begin to find people that want to think about responses, think about excuse me, think about the kind of answers to give. They want to give you responses that will be well suited to the kind of question that you have asked them. But for children, children don't think um from that perspective. They don't think the way an adult think. They think in a totally different way. They have a totally different perspective to life. So, excuse me, if you ask a child what they think about God, they can tell you something like, oh, God is love, God is kind, God is merciful. Their mind is uncensored, and I love it. I love it that way. They don't have anything that they are thinking. In fact, there was an author, Monica Parker, who wrote the book How Children See God. She actually emphasized that children have an uncensored mind. So, of course, what that means is question, you get a rather genuine response from these children. So it makes it very, very insightful. You get responses that sets you on your feet, that sets you walking, that actually shows to you that yes, this is exactly what this child means. So if God is so literal, the way we we talk to them about it, the things they read in the Bible and all of that, we must begin to replicate it in their day-to-day activity. I have somebody that took a poll of the quest of this kind of question that was asked to children. So these are some of the responses that we have from some of those children. One said, this is from a 9-year-old, said, I think that if God sleeps, he sleeps in heaven above all people. But I don't think that God sleeps because he helps people during the night time when they get into problems or when they are faced with issues. This is a 9-year-old. Why a 7-year-old says God can grow you and dance. That's what one said. It's a 7-year-old said God lives inside every living thing, you know. So they believe that as we are, God is living inside us. That is the perception that that child has about God. Another one said, I wish God has a phone so I can talk to him. Because I don't know if he hears me when I'm praying. This is from an 8-year-old. Are we still here? Can we still hear me? Please let me know if you can hear me. One says, God walks me to school every day so that I will be protected. So you can see. Remember, a 9-year-old said, God is always with us, even in the night time. This is another child saying, God walks with me to school every day so that I can be protected. You know, one said, why can't God stop people from dying? You know, if God could, he would try to save all people. This is from a 9-year-old. So there are so many views that children, have about who God is. Not just that, they have a view about what God can do. So we need to actually make them understand that God is merciful, God is kind. But of course, when we are telling our children things about God, we also need to replicate it to them, even in their day to day activity, in the way we relate to them, in the way we communicate with them, you know, so that they can literally see that yes, God is accessible, God is close to them, God is somebody that when I pray, he hears me. The child must be able to understand that so that they will have a better relationship with God. And this is going to be evident in the way we ourselves present God to them. We shouldn't present God to them as a wicked person. We should not present God to our children as somebody that is just sitting up there, is not interested in anything about us. We should actually make them understand that God is available, God is our very present help in time of need. When we are talking to our children about God, let's make our responses to be very simple, easy to understand, so that it stays with them. And let us be truthful when it comes to things about God. And let us also teach our children to have a personal relationship with God. When they are able to have a personal relationship with God, it will be easy for them to navigate life journey, situations and circumstances in a seamless way. But if we don't teach our children to have a personal relationship with God, they will not know that God is somebody that they can relate with even in their everyday life. So as they are studying the Bible, as they are reading the word of God, they must also understand that God is communicating back to them from that means. Prayer is a way of talking to God and God talking back to you. Studying of the word of God is a way of talking to God, and also is a way of listening to the voice of God. So for children, they would actually learn based on what we say to them. They are very smart. So we need to let them know that the things that we cannot do as earthly parents, their heavenly Father can do it for them. God is more superior, He's omnipotent, He's omnipresent, He is everywhere, He can do all things, He can make all things happen for them. All they need to just do is to have a personal relationship with God. So, and they also need to know that God is not judgmental. God is forgiving. God is their heavenly Father. He forgives them. This, and no matter how how terrible their behavior is, God is always there to forgive them and to bring them to Himself. So that is very important. We cannot overemphasize the the view of God. We need to make our children understand the basic perception about God. So that is what they will carry all the day long. So now that is day 10. We have to move to day 11. Why does our children lie so much? Hmm. Children actually lie for different reasons. They can say the big lies, they can say the small lies. They just look for a way to defend um themselves. And I can assure you, when children lie, they lie for a lot of reasons. And it's important that we know that it is not a big problem. Mm. It's only when the child is lying a lot, like the child does not understand it at all, then it means that there is need to check it. There is need to see how to help such a child. Some children actually lie because they want to take control of a particular situation. So they change the story in such a way that it will favor them. So an example is like a child telling a lie to cover up for their mistake. Sometimes some of them tell a lie to avoid getting into trouble. Even when they are stressed, they can lie. They do that so as avoid conflicts. They just don't want trouble. They just want their peace of mind. So that is a situation where a child can tell a lie. Some of them tell a lie because they want attention. Even when embarrassing things happen to them, some of them can actually lie so they can keep the story. If the real story, they will hide it, then they will create a new story. And that's to actually tell you that as children grow and develop, lying is a way of developing executive functioning skills. Mm. Sometimes they wish they can change the narrative of a particular situation. Sometimes they wish they can just maybe they don't like what has happened. The thing that they expect to see happen is what they would actually tell you. They want to protect themselves. Sometimes they want to protect their privacy. So when we begin to notice that this child, what this child is saying is not always saying the truth, That is time that we now need to begin to redirect. Sometimes as parents we think that children, want something, they want something from us, like they want to avoid a consequence, or get out of something, or of a situation that they don't want. There are common motivations that can actually make a child tell a lie, but of course there are less obvious reasons why children might not say the truth, or they might not say the whole truth. They will try to still say a bit of truth, but they will try to also protect themselves and see how the situation actually goes at the end of the day. There was a clinical psychologist that says that it's a new thing where they were pretty truthful most of the time before, and then suddenly they are lying about a lot of stuff, and this will definitely be concerning to a lot of parents. But as parents, if you can understand why your child is lying, you need to be prepared to deal with issues. When you are prepared, the truth will come out. The truth will come out. Some of them lie to test out a new behavior. They've seen that they can change a particular situation, so they will test it. What if, like the law of action and reaction, what if I say it this other way? If I say it this other way, how will it turn out at the end of the day? Will it turn out well, or will it not turn out well? So it depends on whatever it is that they themselves want to bring out. That's to tell you that the brain of children is as developed as that of an adult. So they can think the same way an adult think. And sometimes these children lie to enhance their self-esteem and even gain approval, especially children who lack confidence. They may tell a lie to make themselves look more like impressive. They want you to accept them. They don't want you to label them, especially if they are being parented by people who love to label people. Any small thing you have been able to identify, this child is a liar, is a known liar. you know Sometimes they want to do that so as to protect their own image. They want to make themselves look good in the eyes of other people. So we need to understand why a child is doing something. Sometimes some of them tell a lie to just take away the focus from themselves. They don't want you to focus too much on them, so they don't want it to be like something that will create anxiety, because sometimes the way parents handle situation can actually make a child to get anxious. you know so when they lie, spotlight will be off, it will be away from them. You will focus on another thing, and in your mind you be telling yourself, oh, my child has been able to do all this, when obviously they know that they did not do exactly that thing. So what can parents do about lying? So the first thing that we need to do is to think about the function of the lie. We need to think, what kind of lies has this child lied? What are the circumstances surrounding this situation? So we need to understand all of this and be able to help the child. So we have different levels to lying. Let's look at the first level, talking about attention seeking lying. Dr. Rules actually says that for those kind of lie, it's best to ignore it. Rather than saying that's a lie, you just ignore, you just look away. Instead of saying, oh, that's a lie, it didn't happen to you. No, don't say that. use a gentle approach, use a totally different approach, especially when you know that this line is coming from a place of low self-esteem. So if you are able to identify that, then you have to change the strategy. So for this kind of lies, it's not hurting anyone, although it's not a good behavior. We need to ignore and redirect to something that we know is more factual and the right way for them to go. So it is our duty to guide them to that level. Then the second level is level 2. So when you see a child lie on this particular level, at this point you can give a little bit of reprimand, like correcting, and that correction is a function of the things that we say, the way we say it. Oh, this thing that you are trying to say, is like you are trying to form a story o. Why don't you try again and tell me exactly what happened? So you can just twist it, point out the behavior, encourage the child to try again. So with that, the child will know that, oh, I'm not supposed to do this in the first place. I would definitely think about my action next time and do the right thing, say the right thing. And the next level is level 3. So if something is more serious, like a older child lying about where they went to, maybe the child went out when he was supposed to be at home and decided to lie that it did not go out, or he went to a totally different place, you know. Or so parents can actually think about a consequence for this kind of level of lie. So our children need to be clear that there will be repercussion. So if you are supposed to come back home by 4 or 5 and you came back home 6, 7, you must be able to explain exactly where you are, whatever makes you to say something different. As a parent, you know your child, you must actually understand when the child is saying something different from what it should be, and there must be a consequence, especially if the excuse is not genuine. They must know that you are not going to go scot free for this. This is not just coming out from the blues. You are going to take a consequence. Then also depending on the severity, so we have to look for how we are addressing what they were lying about. So if, for example, a child has said they didn't have any homework throughout the week, and eventually the parents now find out that they had homework every day. This child has come home to tell you that they did not give us homework from Monday to Friday, only for you to discover that the teacher actually gave homework every day of the week. For that lie, there must be consequences, and you must make the child to sit down and do all the homework that he had ignored from that Monday to Friday, and give a time frame for doing that. So another example is maybe a older child now hits a younger child and lied about it, maybe because he feels the younger child might not talk, or might not report the situation, or might not even say exactly what happened. You hit the child and you run away, and you still lie about it. There must be consequence for lying, and there must be consequence for hitting the child. So for such a thing, the child must write an apologizing for that situation. So how can we? The number one thing, no. Can you still hear me? Can everyone still hear me? I want to confirm if you can still hear me. Please kindly let me know that you can still hear me. What are the ways to help our children avoid lying in the first place? First and foremost, we must tell them that saying the truth helps to reduce consequences. Maybe for example, your child went for a visit to a friend's place, and let's say they did not even tell you before they left for that visit, or they were supposed to have come back at a particular time and they did not come. Maybe because something happened. Your child went with their friends. You went to his friend's place, and from his friend's place they went for a party, and in that party the child maybe find himself drinking, and he knows that in the family you don't drink, nobody drinks, daddy does not drink, mommy does not drink. Now he finds himself drinking. There must be consequence for the drinking. There must be consequence for not saying exactly where you are going. You said you were going to a particular place, and then you find yourself in another place. In the first place, you don't have the strength and the power, the willingness to tell your friends that you cannot follow them to that party. There must be consequence for it. But we need to be ready to have a dialogue, a discussion with our children, and also set limits. Once we are able to set those boundaries and the limits, they will know where to draw the line. So when we are, say for example now, when you are making a consequence for a particular action, it's important to also praise the child for telling the truth. Let them know that in the first place they have made themselves trustworthy by saying the truth. It is rather safe to say the truth that, oh, I drank at the party, I went for a party, and that was why I came late. It's trustworthy. They have made themselves trustworthy. That can even reduce their consequence. Maybe if it is an older child, like an 18-year-old that's already using a phone, you can say your consequence is maybe taking away the phone for 2 weeks, and then the child is not going to be able to communicate easily and all of that. Then we need to know that children need to know that consequences are not negotiable. Even if they have told the truth, they need to know that consequences are not negotiable. It must still be carried out. They might say, ah, but I told the truth now. That is manipulation, and we are not permitted to allow that. So that for every action, there is a consequence. So every behavior attracts its own consequences. It's now left to them to determine the level at which the consequence will go or will not go. Another thing we are going to look at is using truth check. Let's say for example, the homework example I used earlier, and the teacher now says, oh, Mrs. Fadiran, your daughter did not do her homework. It is an opportunity to ask your child, oh my darling, why didn't you do the homework? It's a truth check. You already know the truth. Teacher has already told you the truth of what happened. Child didn't do the homework. Now you are asking the child, you are trying to check truth. Sometimes they might get puzzled and say, why is mommy asking me about my own work? Allow them time. You can go to your room, leave them there, and say, in the next 5 minutes, I'm going to come back and I'm going to ask you the question once again. So if they change their mind, I want to give a different answer. We need to tell them that I intentionally gave you that time so that you can think again and not get into trouble. So if the child was initially going to give a wrong answer, or they don't want to disappoint their parents, it's an opportunity for them to now rethink, think again, whether they want to tell a lie or they want to face the consequence. I remember I said, saying the truth, we need to let them know that saying the truth can even reduce consequence. I used to do it for my children. I used to tell them, if you say the truth, it can either take away your consequence or it can reduce it. Although I would also that they go through with the consequence. But sometimes it's good to use the truth check. Another thing, parents can also set up kids to tell the truth. Let them know that you don't expect them to be perfect. Let them know that you're asking the question because you want to see, to understand their view about their question. Let them know that their behavior is different from their person. Even if they tell a lie, it doesn't change the fact of who they are. That's why I said that the way we express ourselves, the things we say to these children about their action is really very important. So we need to remind them again and again that the truth, even if the truth is not really good about what happened, it doesn't take away their person. So what you want to just do for them is to correct the behavior. It's the behavior that we have an issue with. And once they are used to saying the truth, then it's seamless. Then for those of us that have special children, like children with ADHD, attention deficit, hyperactivity disorder, some of these children can give impulsive answers. And sometimes those answers can come out as a lie. These children need extra time. Allow them extra time to think through before speaking. Because this problem they have of impulsivity, impulsivity. Am I saying this well? Impulsivity or impulsivity, whichever one. Sometimes their teacher can ask if they are finished an assignment and they will say yes, and they know that they have not finished it. And the teacher might not even look at their work. Like somebody was saying, I think in a group where I was, that there was a boy in our class that this boy did not write a correction of a maths work. And unfortunately, the parent took it up with her that our child missed something, the correction was not done. However, the teacher did the correction. Other children wrote it down, but this boy did not write it down. And he didn't say the truth to his mother. So you can imagine the way children think. Let them slow down and think again. Please don't ever corner your child. Don't put your children on the spot. If you put your children on the spot, it can set them up for a lie. Sorry, it's like my my voice looks tired because I am actually tired and also feeling sleepy. But this session has to be done. Bear with me. I'm almost done right now. Please, let's try not to put our children on the spot. It can set them up for a lie, especially if you know the true story. Please go right to the issue, discuss it. Instead of asking your child, you already know that they didn't do their own work. Just say, "Ah, I know you didn't do your own work. Oh, let's talk about it." It's not a good idea. Let's talk about it. Let's offer solutions. Instead of saying, why didn't you do your work? They will start giving you reasons and reasons, things that you already have answers to. Don't put your children up for it again, for a response. Please try not to label your child as a liar. I'm going to close with this. It's a big mistake to call a child a liar. A lot of child psychologists, clinical psychologists have said it, and I have also seen it as well, that it is never a right thing to do, calling your child a liar. It creates a big wound that, hmm, dealing with what they lied about in the first place will even be smaller compared to the wound that that statement will create. It makes the child to think that there is nothing they want to say that you will believe them. It makes them feel bad about themselves, and it can set up a pattern of lying that the child will just continue lying, and the child will not know where to draw the line. So on this note, I would like to say a very big thank you for listening to me. Please try to observe behaviors of your children that can give you clues. Find out how to help them. Find out what happens that makes them to always not want to say the truth. When you have all of these responses from them, you'll be able to help your child. And remember, you are dealing with a behavior, not the person of your child. Don't try to attack the person of your child. Try not to attack the person of your child. Try not to attack the person of your child. Instead, face the behavior headlong, and you will conquer. Thank you for your time. I hope I have been able to take few ways by which these issues can be handled, and I hope this helps us to better connect with our children. We have 4 more days to go. 4 more days to go. 4 more days to go, 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 go. In this challenge, it's been interesting, it's been engaging. I've had wonderful time talking with us, and I must tell you, everything that we have learned in this challenge must be put to work if you really want to connect effectively with your child. And on this note, I would like to say thank you for your time and have a beautiful evening. Bye bye.